Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. TheDarkCalamity here. I just wanted to make this little intro to let you guys know that this is a part 2 of a 2-part video. So if you guys want to see part 1, I will leave a link in the description below so you guys can check that out and so that you guys can have the full context. And also I want to take an opportunity to apologize, guys. I know I was supposed to upload part 2 earlier, but I did have surgery recently, so that's kind of been messing me up a little bit, but now back to the uploads. Thanks, guys. So going back to the recommendation, it's about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per body weight. So for an example, a 100-pound person should eat about 80 to 100 grams of protein a day for muscle building purposes. The second answer is applied through the nutrition aspect. Out of all the 3 macros, which are carbs, fats, and proteins is the most filling or satiating gram per gram. What this means is that if you were to compare fats, proteins, and carbs gram per gram, protein is the most satiating, which means that you'll be the most full after eating the same amount as opposed to fats and carbs. I mean, think about this. Have you ever consumed about a 16-ounce steak before, and then while you were consuming it, you thought to yourself, oh wow, I can barely get through this whole thing without being full. And then you compare that to the time you ate like a whole pizza from like a pizza place by yourself, and then you compare the two. The pizza probably had about 2 to 3 times more calories than the steak you were given, but the reality is the steak had a bunch of more protein and fats which could be used to satiate, where pizza was mostly carbs, which takes a while before you feel full. I mean, if we use real world experience here, there's a reason why they have the phrase, oh, I have an extra stomach for my dessert, or I have a separate stomach for my dessert. Part of the reason they say that is because usually the dessert is full of carbs, which carbs are metabolized differently than proteins. And carbs essentially can take a while for you to get full off of, but you ever notice that you don't ever have a separate stomach for protein like you do for carbs? And just so everyone knows here, carbs and sugars are essentially the same thing. They're synonymous with each other. So finally, with all that in mind, I just want to address one more thing for you guys that you guys might be wondering about. You might have Earlier I mentioned about the protein powders, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, do I really need protein powders? Like, why do all these jacked guys always have protein shakes after a workout? Well, I'm going to answer it like this. It depends on your needs. The first and foremost recommendation would always be to get protein through your diet. You really don't need protein powder. Protein powder is kind of like an accessory. And the reason why it's an accessory for some people is because maybe, let's say you work 12-hour days and you don't have time to like plan out your meals, make sure you get enough protein, you're kind of eating on the go. It might be beneficial for you to have some protein shakes with protein powder, because you might not be able to formulate or have time in order to get enough protein and space out your meals and whatever you need to do to reach your goals. And depending on what your goals are, it can inhibit your muscle building process. So guys, it just depends on what you are doing for yourself. I mean, if you are serious about living a healthier lifestyle, I would recommend charting what all the carbs, proteins, and fats you eat per day. And if you notice that you don't hit your protein amount that you should, then you should probably consider investing in some protein powder, because that can help you reach your goals quicker. But it's not a necessary thing. If you're getting enough through your diet, you're eating chicken, steak, fish, pork regularly, you probably don't need it. So it just depends on whether you think you need it or not. A lot of people do not like the taste of protein powder for various reasons. I would say probably the average person who probably doesn't drink protein drinks very often probably won't like the taste of protein powders. But I will say this though, some of them are chalky, some of them are good, some of them are gross. I've tried them all, and some of them have really good flavors and some of them have really crappy flavors. Sometimes you'll buy a protein powder that supposedly is very rich in chocolate, and then you pour it with milk or water, and you'll be like, I can barely taste the chocolate. And then on that same token, you'll buy the exact same flavor from a different company, and then it actually tastes pretty good. So I've tried a few protein companies here and there. I would just recommend sticking to a flavor you like. They have a variety of flavors, whether it's banana, salted caramel, strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry cheesecake. So there's a lot of flavors for everyone. I can say I've never tried the vegan protein, although I can probably say I probably wouldn't like it just based on what my tastes are. Also remember guys that some protein powders are expensive, some are cheap. If your goal is just to get protein in, just get what you can get, and if you have more money to spend, feel free to buy the better stuff, more premium stuff that tastes better. It just depends on your needs, guys. So with that, I will end the video here. If you guys like the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.